started. Thank you all for coming. My name is Karen Tyler. I'm the Veteran Service Officer for the towns of Ipswich, Essex, Georgetown, Raleigh, Newbury, and West Newbury. If there's anybody here that's not from one of those towns, one of the ways you can find your Veteran Service Officer is by going to the town website and going to the Department of Veteran Services, and you'll be able to find your VSO that way. Massachusetts is unique in that we have a VSO, Veteran Service Officer, in every city and town. And so that way we're boots on the ground. We are available to help you with getting benefits, asking questions, and generally being there for you and your family. So today's just going to be informal. I'm going to go over some benefits, just touch on some stuff. But the main thing that I want you to walk away with is knowing that I'm available. You know where to locate me, and that, you know, if I can't answer your question, I can certainly find somebody who will. So that's why I just want to make sure that when you leave, if you haven't already, there's my business card that has my contact information. There's also information on a local benefit, Chapter 115 that I will be discussing. Information on Agent Orange. I know there's a lot of questions about that, and so that's something that, you know, I'm going to touch on briefly, but it's something that would require a more in-depth kind of conversation. And I also want to everybody to walk away with one of the Vietnam books. You know, we've been getting those out to people within the state, and it's something that, you know, is well done, well deserved, and people need to know more about it. So if you haven't, you know, you can grab one of those books on your way out. All right, and after me, this is Tiffany Beaver, and she's with the Lowell Vet Center. And so she's also going to be talking, and she's going to be speaking more to the Lowell Vet Center, what it is, what it offers, how you get in touch with her, and the benefits that you can that they offer. And if at any point you have a question, you can certainly ask me if I haven't answered them already. And yeah, so we'll get started. Before I start, does anybody have any questions?
Can I say something?
Sure.
I don't know how many of you around the room have dealt with Karen. I have. She does a great job. She's sincere, she gets it, and she understands, and she works very hard on everybody's behalf.
Thank you. All right. So there's basically three groups of benefits. There are local benefits, which is with your town. There's state benefits for the Commonwealth, and then there's also the federal benefits. So starting with the local benefit, one of the reasons why we have a VSO in every city and town is because of this benefit. It's called Chapter 115. And what it is benefit for low-income veteran or surviving spouses. So this is available to surviving spouses also. I'm not sure if there's any in this room, but you know, if you know of any, certainly let them know that there are some benefits that they might be eligible for. So this benefit is financial, and there's three parts to it. So you can qualify for one or qualify for all three. The first is a financial supplement. The second is for medical, and the third is for fuel. So depending on what your income is and whether or not you own your own home, it's going to depend on what you would receive for the benefit. And so with this benefit, it gets paid out by the town at 100%, and then the state reimburses the town at 75%. So it's something that only Massachusetts has, and that's why we're one of the leaders veteran benefits. So I'll go into state benefits. There's a number of state benefits out there. One is the welcome home bonus. So Massachusetts, when you get off of either deployment or when you get off back to duty, there is a welcome home bonus. And even if you discharged years before or hours before and you haven't gotten this bonus, it's something that we can look into, see if you receive it. If not, we're still able to go in and apply for that benefit. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. Another one is the annuity, and what this is, it's for Gold Star families or veterans who are at 100%. It's a $2,000 a year benefit. You get $1,000 twice a month. So if you fall into that category of 100% or a Gold Star family, it's a benefit we go through the state to have that be provided. So there's also the tax exemption, and sometimes people don't know about this. If you have a service-connected disability and you get rated between 10 and 90%, and you own your own home, you do get an exemption on your taxes, which is done through the assessor's office. If you're at 100%, then it's $1,000. So that's something to keep in mind if you do have a service-connected disability. Educational benefits. So one of the things that Massachusetts does is if you're a veteran, you go to a state school, you can go tuition free. You still have to pay for the fees and books and all of that, but the tuition is waived. In the post 9/11 GI Bill. That's something that is really, there's a lot of nuances to it. So that is one of the things that if somebody has, I would refer them to an expert. I don't even want to try to get into, a little nitty-gritty into that. So I do have somebody on call that I could refer somebody to if that's something that, that they're entitled to and they're looking to use that benefit. So the RMD, I'm sure driving around, you guys might have noticed that there are license plates that say veteran and they have, branch of service on it that you get through the RMD. And in order to get it, you just have to show them your DD-214. It is a little bit more expensive than a regular plate, but that's because that additional money goes towards soldiers' homes. So it's not just, them collecting more money for no reason. So we have 2 state cemeteries, which, as long as you have something, as long as it's other than dishonorable, you're able to be buried in one of those cemeteries. So there's 2 state ones, one in Wichita and the other one is in Agawam. And then there's the National Cemetery, which is in Moore. So, and some of your cities and towns do have a section of their cemetery that might be for veterans only. That's something that you would look into your town's cemetery office. All right, so let's see, more federal benefits. So there's the VA healthcare. We do have somebody from the VA here, and she'll be talking to you more about the VA healthcare and explaining the priority groups and how to enroll and that type of thing. So she'll speak more to that. All right. Another big reason why I'm here and very useful to the residents and local veterans is I can help with service-connected disability claims. So if you want to, or if you have a question whether you should submit a claim for a service-connected disability, then give me a call and I can help you through the process. It is a very difficult process to try to navigate yourself, so I would recommend trying to do that alone. I've been doing this for a few years, and the documentation that's required and how to fill out the forms is difficult and frustrating. So my job, the reason why I'm here, is to lift some of that burden for you. I'm here to work with you and to support you to make you feel more comfortable in submitting that claim. One of the, often is those who have served in Vietnam and have been exposed to the Agent Orange. There are a list of presumptives, which is something that I have in the back table. If you may grab it on the way in, it's a 2-pager that has a list of all the diseases and symptoms that if you have been exposed to Agent Orange and you have one of those, you can submit a claim and the VA is going to presume that it would be related to Agent Orange. Another one that I do a lot is for hearing. And I think a lot of people, the cost of hearing aids are very expensive. If you are service connected with hearing, then you can go to VA and get hearing aids. I found a lot of people that's a big draw for them. And so the hearing, with doing a claim for hearing, it basically means that something that happened in the service contributes to the hearing loss you have now. So as long as you can they can see a nexus between you being exposed to loud noise while you're in the service and the fact that you have hearing loss now is what they're going to look at. So say you were in artillery, but you're 90 years old now. Well, when you were in the artillery, I could have started that, hearing loss. So even though it's seen so much later, if you can put that connection, then that's something that they're going to look at. Another one, which usually goes hand in hand, is tinnitus. And what that is, it's the ringing in your ears. If you have ringing or buzzing, that's called tinnitus, and that's something else that, I can help you with the claim for. So also, if you need to put in for an increase, whatever you're experiencing, if it gets worse, you can put in an increase, and I can help you with that. If you get denied and want to submit an appeal, that's something that I would also help you with. And if you needed to do hearings or whatnot, I'm here to help, file an appeal if you feel that the VA might have made a mistake. It's just something, that you can have them look at again. So there's another benefit, which is called DIC. And what that is, it's for the surviving spouse of somebody who had a service-connected disability at 100%. So if you are married and your spouse passed away and you haven't remarried, then you would get this from a portion of what you were receiving or what your spouse was receiving while on 100% disability. Part of that would transfer over to you. So it's good, if you have a service-connected disability or something, talk to your spouse. I say no matter what, talk to your spouse, let them know, what's going on, make sure that they know, where the DD-214 is. You can always keep a copy of your DD-214 at my office, because at the point that, you're ill or if you pass away, the last thing you want is for your spouse or your kids to have to, rummage through your things trying to look for a DD-214. So I really suggest that, so that way, just to make it easier you're on your next of kin when that time comes. So that's something I like to say to people and offer that. All right, so moving on to pension. So there's the service-connected disability, but there's also the pension side, which is all financially based. And so it's not a pension like you were in for 20 years. This is you were in the service during the wartime period and you are low income. So that's something that if you are low income, certainly come talk to me because there's benefits out there that are financially tied. Also, so with aid and attendance, which is a very popular, which is starting to get the word out about aid and attendance. So there's 3 criteria, and this is something that's also available to surviving spouses. So again, that's another benefit we want the surviving spouse to know about, because a lot of times they don't look into veteran benefits because they weren't a veteran, but they might be eligible for this. So there's 3 things that have to happen. One is the veteran had to serve during a wartime period. It can just be for 1 day, but it has to be during a wartime period. 2, it has to be a financial need, and 3 is the health. So you need the aid and attendance of another person, or if you go into an assisted living or a nursing home, someplace where you're going to need help with your daily living activities. So just make sure if you start getting towards that point, come and talk to me because we don't want to wait until the very last minute, and then have you be in that panic mode or, because these things, along with any other benefit with the VA, takes months. It could take months to happen.
Are you taking questions?
I'm sorry.
Are you taking questions now or are you waiting?
Yeah, if you have questions.
With regard to that particular point, that's why I'm here, is you said if there is a financial need, is there a criteria for the financial need?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yeah, you probably can't hear me, I'm having difficulty hearing you too. Is there a criteria, an income level for the financial need of somebody that's going into an assisted living facility?
Yes.
What would that be?
So if there's a person that's going into the assisted living facility, so come see me, and the first thing I'll do with the person is put in, it's called an intent to file. So that lets the VA know that there's a claim coming. Because anybody who moves into an assisted living facility, you start going through your finances real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that you're setting this up to, try to bridge that gap. So by putting it in the intent to file, it gives us up to 1 year to provide all the information. And then it would go retro back to the date that I filed. So that's why you want to get that in there. You want to get that placeholder. It's like putting a stake in the ground. And so all of that, all those months will go back to that intent to file date.
So I should see you after this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I think perhaps you might be asking too, can you say today low income means you earn less than $50,000 or is there a dollar cutoff? It wouldn't even be prudent to apply if you knew today you exceeded that. Okay?
Right, so the cutoff, so right now it's about 130,000 in assets, but that does not include your primary home. And so they look at your monthly income, and what you can do is you can reduce your monthly income by medical expenses. So again, say you're in assisted living, that's very expensive, and you start going through those assets pretty quickly. So that's why I think, I always say put the intent to file in, and then say you have a year, say it takes a year and you didn't get to that point. Well, put in another one, that will give you another year. So there's no harm in putting an intent to file into the VA. All it will do is, do that placeholder and it will go back, retro.
Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
If there, when you say $130,000 in assets, are you including if the person has say a testamentary trust, do you include that as the asset, and whatever is in the asset, that asset?
So yeah, it's everything that you have. So it's things that you have access to. So it would be, any pensions, IRAs, 401ks and stuff. If it's something that is in somebody else's name, that they're not going to be entitled to any compensation or money from, then they're not going to, then it's not going to be that.
Okay. I'm not sure. I have to think of it.
Sure. And again, we can talk offline and we can, look at the circumstances, and we can also, and I do this all the time, is contact the VA and ask them if there's something that we're not sure of.
Okay.
So, it's,
I'll talk to you later.
okay, yep, so,
Thank
yep, so it's never, we can work together, we can contact the VA, if I never try to pretend that I am the, absolute expert on every benefit and all the land of all the VA, so that's why I just want to kind of touch on these, so that way, we can dive deep if, if you come to the office or something like that, we can certainly dive deeper. All right, so burial benefits. So it's financial benefit paid to the next of kin. The person must be receiving compensation from the VA prior to passing away, or they would have to pass away at a VA hospital. So burial benefits is not something that everyone gets, but it is something that is available to some people who have who are receiving VA benefits at the time. So I know that I threw a lot at you. Hopefully it wasn't too overwhelming, but there is the moral of the story. If nothing else, walk away with there's a lot of benefits out there, and I'm available for questions and to assist you to navigate, to take some of the burden off of you, to support you in applying for any of these benefits. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next presenter. So this is Tiffany Weaver. Again, she's from the Lowell Vet Center, and she'll be talking about what the Lowell Vet Center is and what they offer.
Hello. So again, I'm Tiffany. I'm out of the Lowell Vet Center. We cover Middlesex and Essex County. We provide readjustment counseling to combat veterans, those that experience military sexual trauma. We also work with Gold Star family members, and we have new eligibility where we're able to work with the National Guard, Reserve, and Coast Guard who worked in support of drone operations across the world. Is anyone familiar with the Vet Center? Cool, this is the perfect audience. Again, we are out of Lowell. We provide individual, group, family, and couples counseling. My job as the Veteran Outreach Program Specialist is to go out into the communities, attend events such as these, talk about the Vet Center, what we do, and how we can help you, and let you know that we're here to support. Generally, we work very closely with VSOs across our area to provide additional support. So in my job, I can also help with getting connected to VA services, programs, healthcare, even VA claims. But Karen is pretty good at doing that. You guys are very lucky to have her in this area to be able to help you with that. So we were founded by Vietnam veterans in 1979. They originally started as peer support groups because Vietnam veterans, when they were coming home, weren't widely received and came together to talk about their experiences. And this later formed into the Vet Center program, which is a part of the Department of Veteran Affairs. We just have a separate structure, line of accounting, and chain of commands. We do report to the Secretary of the VA, though. The other thing that we do is attend community events and support those in ways like doing general outreach, providing specific veteran topic informational sessions. Those would include post-traumatic stress disorder, military culture, for organizations that may need to know a little bit more about that, as well as military sexual trauma, among many other topics veteran specific. I also put some information back on the table, our brochures, some other events that are going on the North Shore. Something I also do is the North Shore Veterans Collaborative. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that, but actually a couple years ago we partnered with Karen to do the environmental health hazard speaker panel that happened right here. The room was filled wall to wall with veterans learning about Agent Orange, the environmental health registry that the VA has, where veterans who have served overseas would fill out an online survey that puts them in a database to connect later when they apply for VA service connection. And we were able to provide a lot of information about that. So those are a few things that we do. And actually one event that's coming up this week, starting tomorrow evening, we hope, if the rain decides to stop, is the moving wall that will be at the Plum Island Airport. Our mobile vet center, which is an RV, will be present there. Myself will be there every day, along with a few other counselors and outreach specialists that will do community outreach with veterans that can visit the law, provide support if needed. I think that covers everything, but if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. And I think you guys signed the sheets. So if you had signed in, I can take your information and reach out to you afterwards and just do a follow-up call or email, letting you know more about our services, or if there's something specific. I guess, sorry, one more thing and then I'll take your question. The other thing that the Vet Center does is offer group counseling, and we do have era-specific groups, as well as different workshops. The most recent workshop that's been very popular is the Legacy Workshop, which breaks down sort of like planning your end-of-life process. So putting together a will, maybe an advance directive with the VA, and we have guest speakers that come in and we'll talk about that. We have an attorney, we have other community resources that will come in and talk about other benefits that might be available to you outside of the VA as you go through the process. There's a great guidebook in the back that we use to go through that workshop. All right, and I can take it.
Yeah, just regarding grief counseling.
We do, yes ma'am.
Do you do that for spouses?
Yes ma'am.
Oh, okay. And it's the Middlesex and Essex County, right?
Yes ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All right. And so, like Tiffany said, she put out a ton of information on the back table. So as you're leaving, grab that. take a look at it at home. There's contact information and stuff, so that way, you can get in touch with the vet center later after you take a look at it. So the third person we have today is Liana. She is from the VA, and she's going to talk more about VA services and also just kind of do a quick overview.
Good morning. Like Karen said, my name is Liana Lynch, and I'm a 16-year Army veteran, truck driver, airborne, and I'm fortunate enough to be working for the Bedford Healthcare Systems. And my job as a community relations specialist is to come out into the community for events like this or expos, or just the general public, and talk to people about what veteran benefits that our veterans have. I started getting involved with working with veterans when I went back to school, and I started going to these different collaboratives like Karen mentioned and Tiffany mentioned the collaborative. To learn about all of these different programs. And I joke and I say that the one thing that my ex-husband did right was moving me back to Massachusetts. because this state has the most benefits out there for veterans and their families. So being in this position to be able to bring the information about the VA and these other resources to you is what gets me up in the morning and makes me happy and jump for joy. So we'll go into this, and hopefully it won't be a fire load of information. I'll take questions as we go. But I'm going to go over some basic information about VA healthcare. So one of the biggest things that I want to start with is that, if it hasn't been covered already, that everybody thinks when they hear VA, they think one big group of people, Department of Veterans Affairs. Well, Department of Veterans Affairs is actually broken up, like Karen was explaining, into these different areas. So we have the Veterans Benefit Administration, and they are the ones that pay out the money. They're the ones that are giving you your disability. They're the ones that are paying for your education, for your rehab, helping you get your benefits. Then there is the National Cemetery Administration, which, like Karen was explaining, is the administration to help you with going to your final resting place. The Vet Center, like Tiffany was talking about, fantastic. I can't say enough about how the Vet Center has helped me personally. So that's definitely always keep that in the back of your mind as an option if you need help. Or you know somebody that needs help. That's always the thing to remember. You might not need it, but you might come across someone who does. And then we have the Veteran Health Administration, which is where I am a part of. So Veterans Health Administration questions I can address. Benefits, I would defer to the experts in this area or from my own personal experience. So the mission of the healthcare of VHA is to honor America's veterans and provide exceptional health care that improves the health and well-being. I got out of service at the end of 2012, and I have been using the VA since I got here in 2014. And I have to say that I personally have even seen a lot of the changes that have happened within the healthcare system. Not only as a woman veteran, but as a veteran period. They're continuing to upgrade the facilities. I know it's taking longer than expected in some cases, but unfortunately, when they don't give us enough money to keep up with the maintenance and we need to upgrade, unfortunately, there are projects that take longer than we expect. So they're continuing to make improvements across the board. Some of the different things that you can get taken care of, we'll address this again, but just a quick overview is your primary care, your mental health care, preventive care, specialty care, care management, inpatient, outpatient, women's health care, long-term, geriatrics, palliative, and community care. Can everybody hear me back there?
No. Could you say that list again, please?
All right. Primary care, mental health care, preventive care, specialty care, care management in outpatient pharmacy, women's health, geriatrics and palliative, long-term specialty and support, and community care. One of the things I will go over is what we've done, what the VA does not cover. So that might be better to understand what we're going to cover and what we're going to do.
Ms. Lynch, the COVID, the booster shot for COVID, I went over to Hampton, they've got no word on it. I had my second shot February 4th. So, yesterday, Paul got a big write-up that the administration wanted to evaluate this particular point, so you know where it stands now?
If they are in the planning phases of rolling out the booster, all guidance is coming from higher than our facilities and going along with the guidance that the CDC is putting out. The first people that they were going to be concentrating on getting that booster shot to is going to be people that have compromised immune systems and transplant conditions.
On that, I got a call yesterday from the VA.
You did?
Yeah.
What did they say?
Getting my booster shot this week.
Really?
See,
I don't know, they were yesterday.
Well, this is compromised. I don't know who's my boosters. So
this is,
Healthcare clinics.
I'm going
We have to go to-
to explain what all of them are. That's actually one of the next things that I was going to get ready to talk about. So the VA, the Massachusetts VA healthcare system, there are 4 major hospitals within this hospital, within the state. You have the Central Western out in the Springfield area. You have 3 in Boston, the Boston area, Jamaica Plains, West Roxbury, down to Brockton, and then you have myself up here at VA Bedford. Outside that, there are community-based outpatient clinics strewn throughout the entire state. Up here in this area, you have a Haverhill community-based outpatient clinic, Gloucester, and Lynch. So those are the 3 clinics, and their hours are 8 o'clock to 4:30. And I'm going to give you guys a sheet at the end of this that has contact information, so if you need to contact them directly, you'll have that information. Once they do start rolling out, they may be available at community-based outpatient clinics. I am, at this point, I'm not sure if they're still like they did with the initial, if they're starting at the VA and then expanding. They could even start doing the community booster shots like they've done when we went out to the community. As of this morning, prior to coming in here, that's the only information I have. I wish I had them to give you. But if they are starting to do the boosters, pick up your phone if you see that phone number that you don't recognize, because that could be them reaching out to let you know it's time to come in. I hate picking up phone numbers that I don't recognize, but at this point, this is going to be the difference between finding out when you can get your booster shot or not. And we want to make sure that all of our veterans and family members are taken care of as this gets ready to roll out. So like I say, that Bedford and VA Bedford is the main one, and our hubs are in Gloucester, Haverhill, and Lynch. We are the largest largest integrated healthcare system in the entire United States. The awesome thing about your VA healthcare is if you enroll in your healthcare here, and you're a snowbird, like those are my big goals, I want to go to Florida, I want to be a snowbird once I retire. Once you go down to wherever it is, or if you are traveling and you go to the state, there's veteran hospitals and other facilities within the network that you would be able to see. Yes, sir, exactly. Once you've enrolled in healthcare, all it is, in fact, that they have moved to electronic records instead of paper records. All it is a matter of looking you up in the system and being able to pull your records over. I had a gentleman just a couple weeks ago who came into the Lynch community-based outpatient clinic who just came up from Florida, and he needed to get his prescriptions from his primary care. And all it was, hey, can you take care of this? The person that takes care of it at our facility is like, okay, he's all set. Expect a phone call in a couple weeks for primary care. So it is that simple. Or if they need to get to the pharmacy, he's able to get connected with them. So that's one of the awesome things about that, is that regardless of where you go, you'll be able to get your healthcare taken care of and continue your healthcare that you already have here. The other big thing that is the big difference between the VA healthcare and then obviously your civilian healthcare is that your cost. There are no annual fees, no monthly premiums, no deductibles. And depending on what category that you may fall into for your eligibility, you may have a copay, but the copay is going to be minimal. And it's going to be capped, which every year when they actually post this and publish this on the VA's website. So you know if you are a category 5 or 6, what your copay might be for that prescription. flip side of that, people that won't get a copay are those that have a service-connected disability. As Karen was talking about, your service-connected disability, your care for that disability is paid for 100%. You do not have to take care, you don't have to pay out of pocket for anybody. So example, myself, I'm service connected for migraines from my service and some back pain and some back problems. So I am able to get my prescriptions for my medication, which I would pay upwards of $900 in the community for free. I'm able to go into the community because they don't have massage therapy within the VA to have massage and chiropractic care for my back to help alleviate my pain so I can live day to day at no cost because those are my service connected disabilities. The VA is ultimately the ones that will make that determination of what your primary group is, and I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So this back to the service-connected disability, the thing that people need to understand, not just the fact that your service-connected disability is not, you don't have to pay. If you have a 50% or 50% service-connected disability or above, you don't have to pay for it. So under 50%, you may have to pay out of pocket for something that's not connected to your disability. If you are 70% or above, then you have that, but you also start to qualify for things like your nursing care, long-term care, adult daycare, respite care, and other geriatric type of needs as we get into our older years. And then if you're 100% service connected, and you get all of that, and you get your dental taken care of. That is the only way that 100% service connected or a service connected disability related to your jaw, your face, your teeth, that is how you get your dental care. One of my most frequently asked questions, so I figured I'd get it out right now. And the biggest thing is that I tell everybody that I talk to is we all went through our time in service, and we sucked it up, we drank water, we rubbed dirt on it. We didn't go to sick call because we were weak if we did that. But the reality is that we did not, the way we exited the service is not the way that we entered the service. So I say that because there are a lot of people that tell me, well, I'm fine. I don't have a disability. My first couple questions are, well, first, what branch of service? What was your job? Some of the most common disabilities that you can get a rating for, like Karen was talking about, is your hearing. I was a truck driver and I worked on an airfield. Does anybody else in here work around loud equipment when they were in the service? How's your hearing?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Now, do you hear that ringing right now? Because I sure do. So that's one of the easiest, the quickest ways to get service connected is something like your hearing. Then, okay, well, how many people had to rock 50, 75 pounds or more on their back at any given time? I know I'm not the only one. So your back, your hips, your knees, those are also very common ones. So don't take the littlest things. Just my suggestion to any veteran is to contact your veteran service officer, get in contact with Karen, and start that disability claim. Let them say that you're not qualified. Don't assume that you're not qualified because of what the military brainwashed us to think about our lives. Get off that soapbox. Another big thing that I get, well, I already have really good health care. I don't want to change my personal PCP. You can have both VA health care and a private doctor at the same time. I do. You know, if I go somewhere and there's not a VA facility within hundreds of miles and I need to get care, and it's about the only thing there is somebody not in network, I have my care to get the same thing. So you don't have to change your primary care. You don't have to change anything that you have to go into. The other thing that goes along with that is, well, there's nothing wrong with me. I'll do it when there's something wrong. Why not take care of it now so that you or your family don't have that burden of trying to get yourself enrolled in the healthcare system at that point? It doesn't take that long. It's a matter of filling out a form and trying to show what you do. What's the other common thing that I get all the time? There's nothing wrong with me, and there are others that need it more. I struggled with this myself for a very long time. And the reality is that just like everybody's time of service is different, everybody's disabilities and body's reactions to their service is different. We need to get out of the mindset of thinking that because we made it home and we have all of our limbs that we don't need the assistance. We served. These are benefits that we earned. And then the bottom line with that is that the more people that are using the system, the more they improve it and the more money that gets put into it. So don't ever think that because we're fortunate to be here that we don't deserve to have these benefits that we served to earn. Get off that soapbox. So basic eligibility. All right, before I go on to basic eligibility, are there any questions about anything that I've said so far? I know it's a lot. I'm trying not to be like, blah, here's all this information.
Hospitals, the four you mentioned, make it plain in West Rochester for benefit. Those are major hospitals or centers where people then would be clinics.
Correct. So each of them, like in the Boston area, they have one clinic, Framingham, Yep, there's one in Worcester. So it makes it easier, essentially it makes it easier so you don't have to make that drive down to Bedford to see your primary care. Some of them have some types of specialty care. Each facility is a little bit different as to what it is.
Some outpatient, some outpatient clinic, possibilities, not full hospitals, but minor things.
Correct. So if you need physical therapy, you may be able to get physical therapy at your community clinic. But if you need to get your ears checked, you have to make that drive to the main hospital. The only caveat to that is that you can't be seen within a certain period of time. You have the option to be seen in the community. So that, like I said, when I started being seen for my back, they did not have chiropractic care. I get my hair done in the Boston healthcare system. And they didn't have any chiropractic care at the Jamaican Plains. So they put me out into the community. Plus, I wasn't able to make appointments. I work every day, and it was really, really hard for me to make those appointments during the daytime. And this particular place, they had it after hours. So they take these things into consideration, and they help you find the place. So if you have to go into the community, well, what do you suggest? So there's some places that you suggest. I'm looking for something between class off hours. We're here to help you. So don't ever be afraid to ask questions. No question is a dumb question. That's the I think the only one that's dumb is the one that you don't know anyone to ask. Just ask the question because somebody else probably has the same question. And that's all. Okay.
And I assume address it so you look up these various VA hospitals or clinics and then have the addresses.
Yes, and one of the sheets I have actually has the addresses and phone numbers for the clinics, so you guys will have that to take.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome. And they've updated the websites. They're getting, they're coming up with the times. I joke and I say it's not actually a joke, it's real. I have to call my 16-year-old nephew to ask for help with my cell phone and some of these different technology things. But they're updating the websites to come up with the time. So there's actually a spot there where if you needed to find a facility that's after hours, you can find something that's within the healthcare system in close proximity where you live. So basic eligibility is somebody that has served on active duty. Now, they did not receive a dishonorable discharge, and they must meet at least one of the service requirements that are ordered. One thing I want to say about the active duty, reservists and National Guard are included in this if they were activated for federal service. This does not include time for training. I can't stress that, unfortunately, that does not count for training unless you ended up receiving a service-connected disability because of your injury that you obtained while you were in training. The service requirements are at least 24 months in a row without a break of active duty service, or you were discharged with a service-connected disability, or you were discharged for a hardship to early out, or served before September 7th, 1980. There are 3 different ways that you can get into that. Well, actually, I'll say there's 4. Ways that you can enroll in the VA healthcare. You can call the national number, and they'll help you over the phone. There's a website that you can go to, and you can actually do that whole application, upload your DD-214. You can visit the nearest VA hospital to see their eligibility enrollment, or you can see me, and I can help you with that. I did bring some of the forms with me today, so if anybody needs to enroll in healthcare, then I'll be able to help you out. So the form that you're going to fill out is called a 1010 PC, and I know that you guys really want to see this, but there are 2 basic areas of this that are really, really important when you fill this out. On the front, section 2, number 2, right here on the bottom. Obviously, you want all of your personal information in there correctly, because if you put your social in there wrong, we're not going to be able to find you. And it's your social security number, not your service number, or your account number. On the bottom here, these are if you check yes on any one of these, you automatically qualify for your VA healthcare. So if you are the Purple Heart recipient, a former prisoner of war, served in combat field operations after November 11, 1998, were discharged or retired from service for a disability incurred in the line of duty, received disability retirement instead of VA compensation, served in Southwest Asia during the Gulf War between August 2nd and November 11, 1998. If you have a VA service-connected disability. Just because you have a service-connected disability, this goes back to where there's different areas of the VA. Just because you have a service-connected disability and you've gone possibly to a VA facility to have your physical, does not mean that you have been enrolled in VA healthcare. This is something that I thought, this is something I had to explain to both of my brothers. Just because you have your disability doesn't mean that you have to do that extra step to get your enrolled in your healthcare. If you served in Vietnam between January 9th, 1962 and May 7th, 1975, if you were exposed to radiation while in the military, if you received nose and third radium treatment, and if you served on active duty at least 30 days at Camp Lejeune between August 1st, 53 through December 31st, 87. So, let's see if I can write up for you, I'll give you this so you can have it or you take it with you. But if you check no on all of these and you don't fall into any of these categories, then that's when we look at your income. So then that's the other important part of this form. On the back, page 2 is your income. So this is going to be, I always have to, gross annual income for your spouse and yourself, right here. If you have any minor children that are living in the house, they would count as well. And all of the income that they're taken into consideration is your employment if you are employed, if you have farms, ranch, or property or business, and then any other like your Social Security, your pensions, interest, dividends, stuff like that. Your income qualifications are based on where your zip code. And there is a website that you can go to that you put in the information and it can tell you if you're over income or not. Where we live in an area where the cost of living is higher, they actually bump us up a little bit. So what might the cost of living in another state, ours is a little bit higher, our threshold is a little bit higher. If you are over, and this is regardless if you're over or not, if you're over, then this part down here is going to be very, very, very important. And this is previous calendar year deductions and expenses. So we're looking at, in the past year, have you paid for any college or vocational expenses? And have you paid for your funeral burial expenses? That's including paying ahead of time on your prepaids. And then non-reimbursed medical expenses paid by you or your spouse. Now, I always get, oh, well, I only paid this, I only paid this a little bit adds up. So this is if you have supplemental, this is your premiums that you pay every month or every quarter. This is your dental, what you pay for your dental, if you've had any dental work. If you had to pay for your optometry visits, if you had to pay for your glasses, which, by the way, with the VA glasses, you have to pay for them. If you had to buy any, if you happen to have diabetes and you were not provided any of this stuff, your lancets, your strips, any of the things if you weren't provided this stuff. So literally anything that if you had a health savings account and you went to the store and bought like the bandages and first aid kits and stuff like that, all of these things are taken into consideration, added up, and then deducted from your income. So that's why I say it's very, very important not to say, oh, well, I only paid $50 when I went into the doctor once a month. That adds up, and that could be the difference, bringing you down below that threshold. So very important to not discount whatever came out of your pocket. Any questions about that? All right, and then after you get you do paperwork to get your VA healthcare, then that's when you're going to go and get your VA healthcare ID card. That's also something that I can help you with. We do these at Bedford Enrollment and Eligibility Office, but I go out to each of the community-based outpatient clinics twice a month to do both enrollments in VA healthcare and ID cards. So if you already have your ID card and you lose it, you're like, crap, I can't get down to Bedford. But you're close to April, the day that I'm there, come on in and see me, and I'll get you certified. So once you've been approved, you'll be notified if you've been approved and what category that you fall into. Then at that point, it's waiting for a phone call to set up your primary care appointment. And again, I have information for all of the phone numbers, so if you don't hear, I want to know if you don't hear from your primary care. So I can let the powers that be at the hospital know that there's a backlog because they should be in contact with you within 2 weeks. So if they're not, then the associate director and the director of the facility needs to know. So please let me know. If by chance you are not approved, you have the option to appeal. I don't know about y'all, but every time I get something from the VA, whether it's for my education or my healthcare, there's a sheet in there that explains the appeal process. You follow that step by step, or you come see Ms. Karen, and she'll help you through that process. You guys are very lucky. Not every town and city in this state are lucky to have somebody as dedicated as her. There are people across the entire state, by law we have them, but not everybody is dedicated as she is, so that's very, very lucky. But the other thing to take into consideration with your healthcare is that if you have any changes in your income, if you don't report it, the IRS is going to find out and they're going to send you a letter. Do not ignore this letter. Do what it tells you. If you have questions, call and ask somebody. Because if you don't take action, if it's needing you to verify your income and you fail to do so, you could lose your benefits. Had a gentleman that we had to walk through this process. And you just need to pay attention to some of the stuff that comes in. Just if you don't know, ask. If it doesn't make sense, ask. But a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, took advantage of hardship. So if you have a change in your income where you get considerably less, whether it's you moved someplace that's higher cost or you've lost a source of your income, be sure to let them know so that way, if needed, if you are a higher priority, this could bring you into a lower priority group. This also could be the case if you applied in the past and you didn't qualify because of income, something like this could bring you under there. And if your income has changed since you applied and they say you're over income, try it again, and take the steps that I talked about, the things that you can adopt. And from that, I say that's in a nutshell. That was way more than a nutshell. That was a lot of information that I just threw at you, so we've got lots of information from a few lovely ladies up here. What are your questions?
I may not have heard, but did you discuss the Healthy Vet website?
Thank you for bringing that up. But My Healthy Vet, that website, I tell you what. This is a way for you, the My Healthy Vet is a platform that the VA is using, and it's multi-purpose. It's a way for you to refill your prescriptions, which is huge. I don't know, but I've lost count of how many times I'm at the end of a prescription, I'm like, oh, crap, I need to refill. Go on there, refill it, and within 2 days I have it in the mail. If there's an emergency and you need something sooner, then you can communicate with your physician directly through the My Healthy Vet portal. I was playing phone tag with one of my providers, and I tell you, once I sent that message, that was it. That was the end of the phone tag. We were able to correspond back and forth about what it was that I needed help with. You're able to, if you get labs done and you don't want to wait for that letter that comes in the mail that tells you that you're good to go, this is where you can look up your labs and see the results of your labs. This is where you can enter any personal stuff. So if you are keeping track of your own health care, or you're taking like vitamin supplements that are not provided by VA, you're having other care not provided by VA, this is a place for you to simply keep all of your VA health care information. And one of the things that's actually, I think today is what happened. You need to be a premium account holder. And that is what that is you have to be authenticated by a member of our team that at each of the community clinics, they have somebody that can do that. And it's verifying you're who you say you are, so somebody else isn't going into your records and being able to sniff around your stuff. If you need to get copies of any of your medical records, this is where you can find it too. Had somebody that's very, very clever that she has her own her PCP outside of the VA and within the VA. And she needed some blood work done for a physician outside of the VA. She got her blood work done within the VA and printed out that stuff from My Healthy Vet and was able to provide that to her physician. So really, really great platform that they put into place. Thank you for your time.
Congressman Seth Moulton on Veterans Day has an Abbott Public Hall of Veterans Listening Day. So anybody who's a veteran can sign up. And I contacted his office and said, I was a peacetime veteran. Am I still, welcome to come? He goes, absolutely, you're a veteran. So I went over there before the pandemic. I don't know if he's going to do it this Veterans Day because of the pandemic with the stuff, but it was really great to hear all the other experiences these vets had that they've gone through, got up and shared.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. He did it by Zoom this year, and for November 2020, and I did go on and I explained my experience while I was in the service. So you have 3 service members. We're all Army, who are all proud, cool, and yeah. So from us to you guys, to all of you, want to say thank you for your service. If you're a Vietnam veteran, I want to say welcome home. We had a lot of information today, and so I really appreciate you guys coming out. And we are dedicated. We're out in the community. We're not, just sitting in our offices, just waiting for the clock to, hit 4 or 5 o'clock, so we can. I don't, but those are the clock watchers. But it's just important. You earn these benefits. Take advantage of what you're entitled to. and there's a lot out there, so having that information, stuff in your wheelhouse, I'd like to, share that with you guys. And if you have any friends, I mean, veterans hang out with veterans, so tell them, let them know that you came, let them know that, I'm out there and that I'm available and stuff. The biggest form of outreach is by your friends and, talking in the community and just getting the word out. And I think that's the best way of reaching people. So does anybody have any other questions?
I have a question, but can you just give them more information about when and where for the moving wall?
Yes. So the moving wall is going to be at the Plum Island Airport. And it is going to be, there's a ceremony at 6 o'clock tomorrow. And there's going to be, the ceremony starts at 6 and there's going to be a flyover at 7. And then the wall's available 24 hours from September 2nd through the 6th. And like Tiffany said, the Lowell Vet Center will be there supporting our veterans and their families to be available. And I'll also be there, a few hours a day and, doing some outreach or just being available to hand out information. But yeah, it's very moving. If you've never seen the moving wall, either the replica or the wall that heals, or gone to Washington D.C., the impact it has on people is just profound. So I highly suggest going at some point, over the weekend, and just having that experience. Whether or not you served in Vietnam, it's going to affect you. So yes. And if you want to volunteer, I think they're still looking for volunteers, and you can connect with the Moving Wall Committee and sign up if you wanted to spend time doing the security, because they'll have security there 24 hours a day, the 2nd through the 6th.
Going back to the COVID booster, this lady thought tomorrow,
I don't know if they said it's priority calling, so if you're compromised in any way, they're going to call you first.
now when the VA calls you, they don't leave a message and everything, so you gotta know what the phone number is and everything like that. They usually don't answer the phone unless they know it's something. Now, which I didn't think the CDC approved it yet and everything, so I find it's strange you get their booster, but I don't know if you could get it yet or not, because I heard it was delayed or something. But what I want to know is, what is that? So if the phone rings and the VA's calling me to tell me I'm available for my booster, what are the first 3 numbers? So, you know what I mean?
I think it changes according to, so there is no one number. Because I picked up the number just because I thought, I'll try and see who it is. So it's not necessarily a VA number that calls.
There's a lot of crank calls.
If it is the VA, it's gonna start with 781-687.
71, okay. That sounds
Should
really
they
good.
leave a message also?
They shouldn't be leaving messages. That's protocol for them to leave a message. So if you're not leaving a message, I'm so sorry that that's happening. But they should. The 781-687-2000 is the number that you would see if it's coming from the VA.
Okay, thank you.
That wasn't the number that I got, so.
If you do have a MyHealth eVet account, you can reach your primary care doctor and ask them that question directly, and they'll get back to you with more
Okay.
information.
Okay.
Great. So it looks like, so there's waters and snacks, so, go ahead.
I had a question about educational benefits. If I use the GI Bill 15 years ago, is there a process to find out if there are any residual benefits left to me?
I can connect you with somebody who is an expert in education benefits.
Great,
So, yeah, I can link you up with someone.
I'll send an email.
Okay. All right, so please hit the resource table, take one of everything that's over there. Lots of good information. So, yeah, enjoy.